So we're going to start in a restorative posture, Supta Baddha Konasana. So yay, we get to lay back down. So you'll take your bolster or rolled up blanket and just lie it down on the mat. And you're going to be a few inches away from the spine for this. It doesn't go directly up to the spine because you want it to support the lower back, not dig into your tailbone. The heels are going to come as close to the body as possible, and the knees are going to come out to the sides as you lie down. If your legs become uncomfortable here, you can straighten them. But what I want you to do is kind of explore, maybe getting the heels a little bit closer, press them into each other, press the feet into each other as much as you can, and notice that will maybe tilt the pelvis a little bit more. We're trying to get the femur heads to sink real deep into the hip sockets here. And it might allow your knees to open up a little bit more. And then your hands can just lie on the floor. Be sure your chin's not protruding up. Have it down. And you can have the arms down here. If you need more of an opening in the chest, you can slowly bring the arms up, inch them up closer towards the face. The more you go up, the more of a stretch you'll get. But you do want to keep the arms on the ground. You don't want them floating. We're not doing anything, well, I shouldn't use the word difficult because sometimes just lying still is difficult, especially when energy is high. But we're not going to add any special breathing or anything. It will just be nice, even breaths. Just be sure that you're breathing properly today to keep yourself in a rest and digest mode. Inhaling using the belly and the chest, both active in the breathing process. The belly doesn't have to get super big. It just needs to move with the body and be engaged. The lungs can be filled all the way up to the collarbones. You can make them nice and big. And then as you exhale, feel everything kind of just sink towards the floor. With all of the energies that are happening around us, I'm just going to leave you here for a few more moments to turn your focus inward, to bring everything back inward, and to focus on what's happening inside. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. Just notice, observe, and be interested about it. Take 3 more deep inhalations, noticing your exhalations getting longer and slower. And we're going to try to keep this balance in the nervous system through the whole class, slow and gentle. Bring your hands down by your legs and use your hands to assist the knees coming back together. And then straighten the legs. You can take a stretch overhead with the arms, point the toes, reach overhead, get the spine nice and long. And then arms back down, knees bent once again, roll onto your side. We can pause on our side for a few breaths. We're going to move the bolster out of the way and then return to our backs. But move slowly, we're in no rush. Bring the knees up to the chest one at a time. So you're holding both knees, but supporting the lower back. And you're gonna rock back and forth, hugging the knees, really squishing the lower back and feeling those lower back muscles release. Consciously bring your awareness to the lower back and be sure you're not gripping there at all. Let the belly be soft as well. Go ahead and bring the feet back down. There's a little bit of pelvic floor awareness we might pay attention to today. The thing about our big groups of muscles is that they want to take over for things that our pelvic floor could be supporting and doing or doing to get stronger. So there might be times where I ask you to release the belly or the buttocks and lift the pelvic floor without using those muscles, because the abdominals sometimes think they are the pelvic floor. It's interesting. All right, let's do our supine pigeon. Right knee to left ankle. And if you don't feel much of a stretch here, be sure to grab the outer knee instead of behind the thigh. And draw that left knee towards the chest. Yowza, I definitely feel this. Keep the right foot flexed for stability in the knee joint. And as you're here, soften the shoulders. Let the tongue rest in the lower jaw. Maybe bring the knee a little bit closer if you can. If not, that's okay too. And take a moment to shift, without touching it, to shift your right knee away from you a little bit and then drop the tailbone towards the floor. We're just straightening out the pelvis to make the pose more special feeling. And on your next exhalation, go ahead and bring the left foot down. We're gonna keep the right leg on top because we're gonna cross it over the left leg so we can come into a twist. So just like your legs are cross sitting, drop your knees to the left and then extend the arms either like a T, or you can bend the elbows like goddess arms. And see if you can release the torso. Let the belly be soft so your organs can get a nice massage here. You can support the top leg with your left hand if you want. We're taking 3 more breaths here. Same breaths that you were doing while you were lying on the bolster. And then bring the knees back up towards the ceiling, uncross the legs. Bring the left ankle to the right knee. Interlace the fingers behind the right thigh or on the outside of the knee, and draw the right knee towards the chest. Keep the left foot flexed and push or move, shift the left knee away from you and drop the pelvis just a little bit, like you're squishing a grape under the tailbone. And then relax the jaw and the shoulders. Bring the knee a little bit closer, the right knee, if you can. And then go ahead and lower the right foot to the floor. Cross the left leg over the right, drop your knees to the right. Decide how you want your arms. If your left arm is really off the floor, you can take a block and support it. We don't ever want to get any type of tingling or anything like that. Soften the muscles in the face and find your breath here. We're taking 3 more breaths. And then bring the knees back up towards the ceiling. Uncross the legs. Once again, make the pelvis neutral, bring the knees up towards the chest and rock, just to kind of neutralize the spine after that long twist. And then bring your feet down, grab your block. Lots of restorative-ish poses today. We're gonna need it. Put the block underneath your sacrum. We're gonna put the legs up, which will still take muscular action being away from the wall, but it will be very beneficial. So legs up, or left leg up first. Ooh, hello hamstrings. Right leg up. This block should help if you have tight hamstrings. And if your knees are bent a little bit, it's okay. Just keep the feet together and see if you can kind of press up towards the ceiling through the inner edges of the feet and keep the feet flexed. So your feet are not floppy, they're active. And then just drop the hands down. They could be holding onto the block. You might start to feel some sensations here. You're just gonna breathe through that. And we're gonna, so to say, drain the legs, give our cardiovascular system a break, and our nervous system will love us. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. Slow, steady breaths. And then slowly and mindfully bring the left foot down. And then the right. Before you lift and put the block off to the side, turn up the corners of your mouth. And smile, in other words. All right, remove the block. Roll to your side and come to hands and knees. So while you're at hands and knees, start your Betalasana with very slow and mindful movements. I think it might be a good idea to explore taking 2 breaths for each movement. So just to even slow it down more than normal. As you lift the tailbone and lift the gaze, take 2 breaths so you can really release the spine into the back. And then begin to press the tailbone towards the face, round the back, arch, drop the head completely, and take 2 breaths here. And then again, drop the belly. So there's a practice during this movement of letting the head come up last. And that's really purposeful, you know, letting the heart open up first and letting the head kind of stay out of it. And letting the heart know where you're going first, instead of the mind and the head taking over everything. It really helps us to trust that intuitiveness that we have. And sometimes we don't listen to it, but we do have it and should come to rely upon it. Let's do 2 more rounds, 2 breaths each. And then when you're finished, come back to neutral spine and bring your hands all the way to the edge of the front of your mat so we can make big circles with our hips. Also look behind you, just kind of notice what your feet are doing. Be sure the toes are pointing straight back and you're not letting, you know, the heels collapse in or out. Just kind of be aware of that. Shift your body weight forward, hips forward, then to the side, then to the back, and to the other side. 3 big circles like this. Doesn't have to be choppy. It could be a fluid circle. And then do 3 in the other direction. And then when you're finished, we're going to meet in child's pose. So sitting back on the heels, arms forward. If you want to give your arms a break, you can grab the bottoms of the feet and just come and do a nice little ball here. Can we take 3 more breaths here? And then bring your hands back to the mat if they were down by the feet. We're not going to take too much time setting up. You can decide based on your mobility, you know, coming in to thread the needle. If you're able to sit on your heels to come all the way down, you can do that, or you can lift a little bit. Just bring the right arm under the left. Press into the floor with your left hand or extend it over the mat. Next inhalation, bring yourself back up to do the other side. Slip the left arm through. If your head doesn't go all the way down, you can also rest it on a block. Inhale, bring yourself up. We're going to walk the hands forward. Keep the sitting bones, or keep the sitting bones off the heels. We're going to come into puppy. So you're going to come down to your forearms and just kind of let your tail hang up in the air. If this is as far as you can go, that's fine. If you're able to bring the chin or the forehead or even the chest and chin down to the mat, do that. Just try to sink the heart forward as much as possible, completely releasing the spine here. We'll take 3 more breaths. And then start to walk the hands forward, lifting your head, coming back to hands and knees. We're going to cross at the ankles and have a seat. Heck, maybe we won't even stand up today. We'll see. It just feels good to take it extra slow. All right. If you have a strap nearby, you can use that for this too. You don't have to. We'll just kind of walk through it without the cues of the strap. But bend your right knee, close the knee joint, and then drop your knee out to the side. So we're going to come into this forward fold. Shift your body over your left leg, and then your left foot is flexed. The toes are spread as much as possible, but we want the quadricep to be working here. You're going to inhale, get really tall, and then concave the belly as you exhale and come forward. Still keep the shoulders back. I'm so tight that this is as far as I'm going today. And like I said, you can use the strap here to help you, but just have your fingertips on either side if you're not going all the way down. Notice, because we're going to be here for a few breaths, notice as you continue to engage the leg, as you continue to lengthen and breathe, as you exhale, the muscles will soften for you and you might be able to go a little bit further, but still keep those lower inner edges of the shoulder blades working and holding your back. Take 1 more breath. And then on your next inhalation, you're going to look up, look at your toes, and then exhale, come back to seated, bring this knee in, the left knee will bend and drop out to the side. Just take a moment here, rotate the body so you can come all the way down onto the right leg. You're facing the right leg to start. Engage, press the right leg into the mat. Opposite action of lifting through the crown of the head. And then begin to fold over. Keeping the shoulders back. You're going to get a little bit of flexion in the lower back. You can even bring your fingers back there to see if you feel the spine begin to stick out, then you've gone too far and you want to back it up and re-engage the rhomboids under the shoulder blades. If you start to get rounding in the upper back, you want to back out of it. Just move slowly. See what the body will let you do today instead of what you want to do. Darn it. And if you do end up going or down further, yeah, okay. So as we go down further, we keep the chin lifted, and it's like we're aiming our chin towards our shin to keep the neck neutral. We're just taking one more breath here. And then inhale to look up and exhale to release. We're going to bring the bottoms of the feet back together. Drop the knees out to the side. Your inner adductors have already been nice and warmed up from that first pose we did. Grab the ankles for stability. We're going to fold forward 2 times. The first one, we're going to keep the back straight. The second one, we're going to round. Okay, so inhale, lengthen. Lift the chest, spread the collarbones. Exhale, lead the heart towards the floor. And shoulders stay back. And then inhale, come all the way up. As you come up, lengthen once again. And then as you exhale, begin to push the front body into the back body and completely drop. Try to get the top of the head towards the feet. A whole spinal stretch here. The elbows can press into the thighs. You can continue to open up the knees. Let the head dangle here. Inhale, come all the way up. Use your hands to bring your knees together. We're going to come to hands and knees and have your arms set up to get ready to bear some weight in downward facing dog. Spread the fingers, press the roots of the fingers, line up the lines of the wrist or the wrists with the front edges of the mat. Curl the toes under and lift the hips up and back. Bring your ears to your inner arms. Don't worry about straightening the legs, just lengthen through the tailbone and push the floor away from you. Then you can start to pedal the feet. Stretching out the calf muscles if they need it. And we're going to inhale to look up and step forward. Exhale, fold. Try to get your belly as close to the thighs as possible. And then inhale, bring your hands all the way up to your thighs and get a nice flat back here. Shoulders back. And then inhale, bring the arms all the way up. And exhale, hands in front of the heart. Take a breather in Tadasana. Bring your arms down. So we played on Sunday morning a little bit with this opposite energy and the power of the mind. We know the power of the mind. Depending on what our perspective is how we might view life as real or whatever. I'm not saying that what we think is false, but sometimes, it just takes a mind shift. So feel your feet grounded into the mat. And first, feel energy lifting. So arches of the feet up, shins, kneecaps lifting up. Everything lifting up through the crown of the head. And if you have your eyes closed here, you could even feel yourself wavering a little bit, but feel very light. If your eyes are open, that's fine. Just have a soft gaze on the floor and feel everything lifting up. All the weight is evenly distributed, even out through the fingertips. And now feel the weight and groundedness travel down into the feet and feel grounded. Feel cemented and feel strong. Another moment or two, and then you can open the eyes. And release your mountain pose. Speaking of strong, today is about warriors. Separate the feet. We're going to start with warrior 2. From the ball and socket, rotate your leg out. Just get in the habit of always rotating from the hip joint. The knee is a hinge, so if you try to rotate from the bottom up, you're going to injure yourself over time. Get a nice wide stance here. Take your left hand, push into that outer hip, gluteus medius, and it's almost like a side lunge, so you might need to even scoot your toes even further. So bend into that right knee. The hips are not going to be totally off the side of the mat, but the shoulders will be. So rotate that left shoulder back. Extend the arms. And just kind of take a look at where your energy is. Are you shifting forward? Are you balanced? Shift it towards the center. You're going to drop the tailbone, which might lift the navel up a little bit. Your abdominals are engaged. We're going to take 3 good breaths here. And then straighten the right knee, keep the arms, bring the right toes in. Lift the heel of your left foot so you can rotate the heel in from the socket, and then bend into the left knee. Adjust accordingly. You can almost always take a wider stance on your warrior 2 than you think, because this right hip is dropped. But it does take a lot of muscular action. But remember, you're strong. Shift your weight to the center and get even. Three more breaths. Bring the hands down. Straighten the left knee. Rotate the toes in, and then walk the feet back together and come to the front of your mat. Left leg will come back for warrior 1. Before we even bend the front knee or anything, first make sure your heels are lined up and your hip points are pointing towards the front of the mat. Press the outer edge of the back foot. Be sure it's nice and strong. Glutes are engaged. And then you'll just bend into the front knee. Don't let the knee go over the ankle here. And you don't want to have too much lordosis in the lower back, too much curve. So just drop the tailbone, release it. Go ahead and bring the arms up. You can look up at your hands, or if you want the hands all the way up, if you have that range of motion, go for it. Get really tall through the fingertips. Begin to bring the arms down. Point the fingertips behind you and start to shift your weight forward. We're going to bring the left foot forward. And you can stay here, just keep a micro bend in the standing knee, or you can lift the toes if you like, coming into warrior three. It's up to you, your body, how far you go in this pose. But when you are done, try to take a few breaths. When you're done, deeply bend the standing knee and bring both feet together. Good. You guys look great. We're going to do all the same stuff with the warrior one and the warrior three on the other side. Okay, so come back to the front of your mat. And now we're going to bring the right leg back. So right leg back, hips pointing forward, press the outer edge of the foot. Keep the torso nice and tall, and then bend into the knee. Bring the arms out. If your arms are not straight all the way up here, lower them down to where they are straight and soften the shoulders back. See if you can take 3 more breaths here. 3 full deep breaths. And then start to bring the arms down, point the fingers back, coming into Virabhadrasana 3, which is warrior 3. Shifting the weight forward. Don't lock out the standing leg, that's very important. See if you can take a few breaths in this balance. And then come out of it when you're done. Good. Shake the legs out a little bit. Come back to a wide stance on your mat, but first grab your block. Even if your hamstrings are open, especially by now, and they're long enough, we're still going to use the block. And I want your feet to be wide enough so that they're almost under the wrists. They don't have to be exactly under the wrists, but at least past the elbows. Toes will be pointing straight forward. And you're already going to start engaging the outer hips, the sitting bones, the quadriceps. Get really, really tall. Put your hands on your hip creases. And on your next exhale, start to push those hip creases back. Keep a long spine. Keep lifting the sitting bones. Bring your hands down to the block and pause. We're going to spend a few breaths here. Even if you can go further, just stop. Re-engage the legs. Shoulder blades towards each other. Lengthen through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, hinge forward a little bit more. You can start to flatten the block. And pause. Repress the feet, repress them. Repush the feet into the mat. Lift the sitting bones. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, fold one more time. Maybe to a flat block, maybe to the floor. Don't compromise the spine to go further. And here you can drop the head. I'll take one more breath. And then we're going to reverse out of this. Look up. Bend the knees. Bring the heels in. Bring your hands up to the legs. And then come back to a standing position. Feet together, come to the front of your mat. So you guys being at the front of your mat, you might or might not be facing me, but I'm going to make sure that I'm facing you. Come into Tadasana and inhale, bring the arms up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Keep the hands together, inhale up. Exhale down. We're doing that 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale. Nice and slow. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. And one last time, inhale up. Exhale down. Grab the elbows behind the back. Lift the chest, look over the right shoulder. Chin to chest, roll it across. Again, go back and forth. You guys are familiar with this pose. You're just stretching the back of the neck and really kind of observing what your range of motion in the neck is. From looking over the right shoulder to looking over the left, seeing if it's the same or how it's different. And if you get crunching in the spine, that's normal. And if you want to spend extra time in a spot, do that. And after your next roll across the chest, bring the head back to center, drop the arms, inhale, bring the arms up. Grab the left wrist and exhale, lean to the right. Open up the left side of the body. Back to center, grab the right wrist, exhale, lean to the left. Back to center, bring the arms down and have a seat. And now lie down on your back. Pretty sure we just went through this whole class without doing one chaturanga. You're welcome. All right, we're gonna bend the right knee. Bring the heel as close to the body as possible, and then drop that knee out to the right. So supine tree pose here. If your right buttocks wants to engage, let it. It's gonna help open up the inner thigh, but keep the left leg active. So toes will be pointing up towards the ceiling. And you can bring the arms up here. You can have them open. You can interlace the fingers, whatever feels good here with the arms, you choose. But the body is active here. Don't let the shoulders drop. Relax the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. We'll take one more breath here. And then on your next inhalation, bring the right knee up towards the ceiling, straighten the leg. You can keep the arms where they are. Bend the left. Bring the heel as high up as you can and drop it out to the left. And if you want to bring your arms down or put them in a different position, you can. Just remember the back body is still lifting up. The right leg is still active. Take one more breath here. And then bring the left knee up towards the ceiling and straighten it. Take a long stretch and circle the wrists and the ankles. Maybe yawn. And then bend the knees and hug them. You can stay in a hug and just rock left to right, or you can bring this into happy baby. So you'd grab the bottoms of the feet and then bring the knees, press the knees down towards the floor. And still rock here. If you can't grab the feet, you can grab the insides of the legs and still get that same hip opening, or a really good one. And bring the knees back together. Drop the feet. And it's time for Shavasana. If you want to grab a blanket, something to cover the eyes, anything like that, go ahead and do so. If you're ready, just bring the arms back down towards the sides of the body, palms facing up. And take this and any other moment of your day or week as an opportunity to let go. Just a few small moments can make a huge difference in your body and your mind. Separate the feet and really just soften the whole body. Be vulnerable, open up. You're in a safe place. Deep breaths. Separate the lips, exhale through the mouth. 3 times, 3 deep breaths. And as you continue to breathe and exhale, just feel everything settling to the back of the body, bones, muscles softening away from the bones. Even feel a separation with the skin away from the muscles. And feel this big spaciousness within the body, and a softness and a sinking. And Amanda, I know you have your time set, so you get up and go when you have to. But I will keep time and give you silence as you lie here and surrender to gravity.